Hi everyone, so what is psychotic depression and how does it feel? So I'm someone who is clinically depressed. I've had severe depression for most of my life, I think, but at times it has gone into having psychotic episodes. And one thing I've been reading about is psychotic depression, and that is where someone with clinical depression develops symptoms of psychosis. So that's like hallucinations, delusions. So you can have an episode where you might be hearing voices, and your mind is basically playing lots of tricks, and often it stems from the negativity going on in your brain, the chemical imbalance, I believe, when it comes to severe depression and living with depression. So as we know, depression is a low mood disorder, but it's not just feeling low for a day. It's like severe lowness for a period of time, a sustained period of time, which is why I exercise always first thing, just do my squats as well in the morning to try and curb that. But often when you're depressed or before you manage to get help or medication, it can be difficult to get out of bed, it can be difficult to do basic hygiene. There's so many challenges just to day-to-day things. People who don't have depression or mental health problems might not understand how challenging certain things can be. But when it comes to psychotic depression, that's the area where clinical depression might turn into an episode of psychosis, which is where you have those delusions, hallucinations. You might think someone is going to harm you, or you're going to harm yourself, or lots of different things going on in your brain. You might believe in conspiracy theories against you. These are just probably certain things that I've experienced in the past. And when you're in it as the person experiencing it, it's very real, like acutely real, to the sense of that is your perceived reality. Granted, there are lots of ways professionals and medication can help you realise that that's not the full reality, and that's probably not reality, but that takes a lot of time, and also there is so much help out there. But it's believed about 25% of hospital admissions, if I'm getting that right, for depression are for people with psychotic depression, and women are twice as likely to experience psychotic depression than men. But not only that, there is help. So there are medications you can have. I have an antipsychotic and antidepressant. And for people who haven't got experience of mental health problems, like a lived experience, there can be quite a lot of stigma around those, like even the name antipsychotic or psychotic depression. I just find the name can be really loaded still, unfortunately, because there's still a lot of stigma attached. But the good thing is there are more people talking about it, and it is really, really important to get that support and to know that you're not alone. There are so many professional services. The first port of call is always GP, but obviously call emergency services if you're in danger or a loved one is. That's always the way, because you can call emergency services not just for like physical ailments, for mental ailments as well. If you're having a breakdown or whatnot. So there are lots of ways you can get support. Once you do get the support, whether it be in hospital, it might be with a team in hospital made up of psychiatrists, nurses, support workers and whatnot, or a lot of the care now is done in the community, because they try and keep you at home as much as possible, because that's believed to help recovery a lot better, and also not to kind of distance you anymore from family and friends. So what they recommend is then having a community mental health team. Initially, if you are in crisis, I've had a home-based treatment team, which is essentially crisis team. So they visit you daily, or sometimes twice daily, 3 times a day. They might help you with your medication, or they might administer your medication. They might help with talking therapy, support work, whatever it is. The good thing nowadays, anyway, where I live in the UK, is that each team is like multidisciplinary approach, so there's lots of different people helping in that team, which I find helpful, because if you need a psychiatrist, they've got instant access to one, or a social worker, or whatever it is. There's lots of ways to get support. Also, to reach out to other people. There are support groups online and offline as well, and self-help books as well. But I always say get your foundations in place first, to get that professional support first. And then with me, I've managed to find fitness that helps me manage my moods. I still have my like down days, like, or periods, but the difference is that I'm able to be as mentally as healthy as possible. But whilst I might always have mental health problems, and I try and sustain myself to be as mentally well as possible. And we all know exercise is brilliant for treating mild to moderate depression, and also other mental health and physical ailments. Just by moving can really help. I'm not saying it'll cure, but it will at least help and give you a better start in life, especially with sleeping, eating, everything, all those fundamentals that can get thrown out of place with depression. I find that moving first really helps me. But we are all unique and we are all individuals. That's why you must get professional support, and make sure you get a care plan in place that suits your needs. Also, it can be really difficult if you're supporting a loved one with depression or psychotic depression, because you feel probably neglected, or that they're getting more irritable than normal, or they're more distant. But it is not you, it is the depression. They might be struggling with day-to-day tasks, but it is not you, it is the depression. They might be struggling to show their love, but it's not you, it is the depression. And whilst I'm not like an advocate and always saying, oh, well, it's just the depression, it's just the depression. But when someone is experiencing a bad bout of depression, it really does consume every aspect of your life. And even when you put in your building blocks and try and be as proactive as possible, as I am, you can still struggle with maintaining relationships or keeping in touch with people, because you feel so isolated, and in this little bubble you just feel trapped, and it is really isolating. So you could be in a busy home full of lots of people and feel lonely. And it's the same with depression. You could be anywhere, you could have all the love in the world, and when you're going through depression, it's really hard to see that. But there is always hope, and the wave does pass. It's about getting support for loved ones, yourself, for others. It's a team effort when it comes to cheerleading people through the difficult times and the bad. So, sending you all so much peace, love, and shimmies.